Hey lovelies, you're welcome back once again to my channel. So today guys, I'm gonna be teaching you how to make this gorgeous turban. This is a turban ruffles and it's so beautiful and so gorgeous. So if this looks like what you're interested in, please keep on watching guys. So I have this green raw silk fabric that I'll be using for this tutorial. You can see the fabric is not stretchy, so I advise you get the one that is stretchy. I couldn't get the one that is stretchy in this color that my client wants, okay, and this is very urgent, so I just thought of how to make it a bit stretchy so that it can fit into my client's head circumference. So I'm gonna be folding this on a bias because that's the only way I can get it to be a bit stretchy. Okay, I don't have my client's measurement head circumference, so that is why you need it to be stretchy to fit into the head circumference of your client or whoever you are making this for. Okay, so this is the reason why I placed on a bias. So if you know your head circumference, you don't need to place your fabric on a bias. Okay, so the length of the turban I am working on is length 25 inches, okay, and the head circumference I'm using is 23 inches. So because it is placed on fold, that is why I am marking half of my head circumference on this fabric, as you can see. So 23 inches for the head circumference and 25 inches for the length. So if you are not placing your fabric on fold, you don't need to use half of the head circumference to cut out, okay? So because the fabric is not stretchy, like I said earlier, that's the reason why I placed this on fold, on a bias, I beg your pardon. So now that I'm done cutting out, I'm just going to fold half an inch inward like so on the head circumference part, which is my 23 inches. So if your head circumference is 22 inches, please use your head circumference, okay? So after folding by half an inch, I'm going to fold again by 1.5 inches, okay? Fold by half an inch and then fold again by 1.5 inches. So I'm just confirming my measurement and then I will pin this down. So I'm going to do this all the way to the end of this head circumference part. Fold half an inch first and then fold 1.5 inches again, okay? So that's basically what I'm doing here, guys. So make sure that everything is laying flat and neat, and then you pin all the way. So I'm done pinning, you guys, and this is what it is looking like. So the next thing I'm going to do from the pin part, okay, from the edge part of this my fold and pin, I'm just going to be marking 1.5 inches like so. You can do 1 inch, you can do 2 inches, you can do 1.5, depending on how much space you want to see on your turban cap at the end of the day, okay? So I decided to go with 1.5 inches for mine, okay, because I don't want the spacing to be too tight or too wide, okay? So I decided to do 1.5 inches. So I'm continuing marking my 1.5 inches from the end of my chalk mark. I'll mark 1.5 inches again from that chalk mark all the way down to the end. Once I'm done doing that, I'm just going to rule this all the way. I'm just cross-checking if my 1.5 inches is accurate before using my ruler to rule this all the way down to the end. Okay guys, note that I'm doing this on the head circumference part and not on the length part, okay? So I'm going to do this all the way round, all the way down to the length of the cap. So once I'm done doing this, I'm just going to sew down the pleats like so. I'll fold this and sew this down. But before that, I'm going to remove my pins and sew down the ends of that my first 1.5 inches fold. Okay, so now I'm done sewing that down. I'm just going to remove my pins. You can see how clean this is looking. So guys, do not forget to use a matching color thread when you are doing this. So once I'm done doing this, sewing the 1.5 inches down, the 1.5 inches fold that I have, I'm just going to fold the chalk mark that I have on the fabric, and so I'm going to sew this down using 1/4 inch. Okay, so I'm just basically sewing very close to the end of my chalk mark. So once I'm done doing this, I'm going to do that all the way down to the end of the cap. You can see the wrong side of my fabric where I sewed down 1/4 inch. So now I'm gonna place the fabric on fold again. I'm just going to cross check the head circumference again if what I have is still the head circumference. Okay, so because this is stretchy, if you are using a fabric that is not stretchy, please add your seam allowances to your cap when you are cutting out. So because this is stretchy, I don't need to add seam allowance. Okay, so now I'm just sewing down my seam allowance. You can see the curve I did at the end of the cap. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim this using my pinky shear scissors. If you don't have a pinky shear scissors, you can trim with your normal scissors and then you take it to your weaving machine. So I don't have a weaving machine right now, so I'm just going to use my pinky shear to trim out. So once I'm done trimming out, I'm using my hand needle and thread to just make pleats, just to gather this all the way down to the end of the cap like so. You can see what I'm doing. So I don't want the video to be too lengthy. That's why I made this part very fast. So I'm gonna take the pin all the way back to the top again, and then I will tie this down very firm. Tie it very firm. Okay, so this is what is looking like after I'm done gathering the end of the cap. So this is how the inside looks. You can see it's looking clean. So yours must be looking clean as well. You can see it's looking gorgeous. So now we have successfully completed the base of our turban cap. Okay, you can rock this like so. If you don't want to put ruffles on your turban, you can actually rock this. You can see the part that if you have a long braid or your hair is very long, this cap will accommodate your hair length. So on the remaining part of the fabric that I'm working on, I just cut out 3 inches on fold. You can see, just check it out. This is 3 inches. So I have them in pieces like so. So I'm just going to sew that down using 1/2 inch. I'm just going to basically join all the cutout that I have. Okay, I'm using a 1 yard fabric for this turban. Okay, so that's why I'm going to be having a lot of joining on this my ruffle part. So once I'm done joining all the piece together like so, I'm going to take the ends and then I'll turn it right side facing each other and sew that down neatly. I'll do this on the other side as well. Sew that down using 1/2 inch. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Note that I'm doing this on the wrong side. Okay, so once I'm done doing this, I'm just going to turn this over to the right side. You can see how clean this is looking. So I'm gonna turn this also. Don't forget to cut off your excess thread. This is an attribute of a neat tailor. You don't want an excess thread dangling. So once I'm done turning this inside out, I'm just going to sew down 1/2 inch. Okay, this is just to keep my 3 inches in place, okay, so that I can pleat it. I can gather the ends neatly, okay. So when you sew down first, it will make it easy for you to work on, okay. So I will just continue gathering this all the way till I get to the end, and then I will tie this firmly. So before I get to the end, I will just continue to gather and gather and gather until I get to like maybe about 15 inches, and then I'm going to tie this down. Okay, the essence why I'm tying this down in beads is so that my pleat can stay in place, okay. So trim off any dangling fabric that you can see, okay. So once I'm done gathering, I'll continue to gather and gather and gather until I'm satisfied with what I have. Please don't gather to the end of the your 3 inches fabric before you tie, okay. So you can see me tying this down. So now this will stay in place, and then I will continue with my gathering, okay. So I will just continue to gather like so until I get to another 15 or 10 inches, and then I'll tie again. So I'll repeat this process until I get to the end. Okay, this is very, very advisable. I will not advise you to pleat all the way to the end before you tie. It will make your pleat strong, okay. So this is what this is looking like after I'm done gathering. You can place it in the middle of your fabric of your turban base, or you place it by the side depending on what you want to achieve or the look you are going for. So I decided to place mine by the side, okay. So once I'm done tacking the middle point down, I'm just going to wrap the remaining excess I have all the way round like so, okay. And I'll continue to tack this down to the base of my turban. So this will just keep this in place. So just tack round like so, all the way round like so. And then you tuck the end of the pleats underneath the turban, like underneath the ruffles, okay. So I'll just continue to tack this down firmly. You can see what I'm doing. Just tack and tack and tack and tack till you get to the end. You just tack this round. So once I'm done tacking this down on the turban base, I'm just going to use my hand to fluff out my gathers, okay. Fluff out your gathers like so. So now I'm done fluffing out my gathers. You can see the end of my gathers. You can see that it's not looking neat. So I'm just going to I'm just going to close it like so that it will look neat. You don't want that part showing. So once I'm done, I'm gonna tie this down. So in order to close that part, you take one part of your ruffles, you pinch a little, and then from the opposite side, you take a little as well. Look at what I'm doing closely. Just pass your needle through like so from the opposite side. You can see how this covers up neatly. So once you do this, before you pass your needle to another side to work on, just make sure that you tie this down, because this is the only thing that can keep it in place. If you want to work on so many portions at a go, you might end up not achieving a neat result. So you can see what this looks like. It's going to stay in place. I'm doing this twice. You can do this once, but for me, I like my work very, very neat. I don't want any customer calling me that my clothes unraveled or something. So I'm going to do it neatly and perfectly. So now, pass my needle from underneath the turban, from underneath the ruffle to the next point I want to work on. Pinch a little fabric like so. You can go up by half of an inch away from the starting point of your gathers, okay? You can see, just watch closely. This will just close up neatly and hide your gathered part, okay? The end of your gathered part. It will just close up neatly. So you can see me tying this down again. So I prefer to do this one after the other instead of tacking and before tying. This will just keep each point in place. So now look at the end of my gathered part that I attached to the turban. You can see that it's not looking neat. So now I'm going to pass my needle into the gathers like so. Take it through the fabric, then underneath the turban. And then I'll continue to tack this all the way down till the end. I hope you like what you see. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much. If you are yet to subscribe, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much. I love you all. Bye for now.